This is the webinar where our topic is harnessing the power of generative AI and talking about some of the transformative use cases and industry style insights to it. We are very thrilled to have you join us as we explore generative AI is reshaping the industries and unlocking new potential. And in partnership with AWS, we will definitely discuss, go deep dive, understand how the generative AI is going beyond the trends, how it is becoming the center stage capital of most of the technology pieces, how it is creating the impact into various different business domains, let's say pharma, retail, BFSI, and what are those real world use cases that has started coming into the enterprises. Enterprises have started using it, and it's going more and more innovation as we are moving along into this journey. Now, our expert panel will definitely share the insights on the latest advancement, the best practices, the different frameworks, and what should be taken care of to boost the efficiency and the productivity and enhance the customer experience, and yet making sure that we are driving growth for the businesses. So we encourage all of you, whoever is listening this, please do share your questions, thoughts, and experiences, and suggestions and feedback as well, because every feedback is a gift, and we would be happy to hear that piece out. So let's get started and let's see what we have in the bucket for us. So let me start with the first question. So, Louis, generative AI is making waves across industries and helping organization in various different facets, right? Streamlining their operations, customer experience, and also discovering new revenue streams as well. Because a lot of companies are monetizing that data with the help of generative AI. So let's dive into like how AWS leading this transformation and what sort of an overview of generative AI impact you see from the AWS point of view.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you, Kapil and Rahul. Well, thank you for inviting me. Thank you very much. I'm really happy to be here. I'm just going to before answering the question, I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Luis Felipe. I work for AWS as a generative AI solutions architect. So in my day to day, what I do is help partners and help customers adopt generative AI using AWS services. And well, regarding generative AI impacts, well, as you already know and as you have heard, generative AI represents a groundbreaking technological shift. So, unlike traditional programming or even standard machine learning, generative AI uses foundational models that are trained on vast datasets to create new content. And well, this content can be images, text, video, or even code. So this shift introduces a new way of doing things or of doing IT, where model training and data curation are replacing coding logic. So businesses today are using generative AI in many things, and mainly what we see is that they're using it to revolutionize operations, personalize customer interactions, improve customer experience, improve employee productivity, and explore new business models. And for example, uh, Gartner predicts that by 2026, more than 80% of enterprises will be using a generative AI powered application. And this comes from just the 5% that we had in 2023. So today, with AWS and with partners like Visionet, we have many customers going now from proof of concept to production applications and that are realizing different tangible business value today.
Fantastic, super, and good that AWS anyways investing. We keep reading about it and stuff that you guys are coming along and providing a lot of updates to the industry on generative AI. But Raul, how do you think that Visionet is leveraging AWS stack into any specific focus domain at Visionet side.
Yeah, thank you, Kapil. So, a quick introduction again from my side. So, I'm Rahul Jha. I take care of GenAI competency at Visionet. So, primary objective is to help customers and partners, right, to build different kinds of solutions using generative AI, right? Okay. So, Kapil, to your specific questions, right? Okay, hey, what are we doing in different domains, right? Okay, as you asked for the question, right? How are people using it, right? Primarily, right? Generative AI, and of course, using AWS as a backend for helping us to realize those use cases, right? So again, use cases are everywhere, right? Honestly, if you understand the nuances of generative AI, the foundations of generative AI, every possible business you can think of, every possible service you can think of, every possible application you can think of, every possible interaction or experience you're thinking can be augmented or reimagined by generative AI. Honestly, that's the power. That's
Mhm.
why people um, whether it can be realized today or not in full capacity, there's a question mark on that. But even with the current capability of these foundation models, agentic systems, SLMs, and all of that things what we have now, the advancements being done in the last 2 years, we see that it has been adopted widely across all domains. You name it, and we are working with those partners and customers, right? Okay, in different domains. In the interest of time, I'll not be able to go to all the domains, but uh, I'll just focus on one domain, right? Okay, retail, for example, right? So just an FYI, right? Okay, uh, uh, we are working primarily. So, Kapil, you know this very well, right? Okay, we have categorized the entire GenAI adoption framework and the use cases into three different categories from the visionary point of view, right? We call it reimagine business with generative AI, reimagine IT with generative AI, and the boost productivity with generative AI. So those are the three categories, right? Primarily, right? So I'll touch one or two examples from each domain, probably, right? Okay, to give you a nuance of that what we are doing with different customers, right? Okay, for example, in the reimagine business with generative AI, right? We are working with various domains, right? For example, retail, right? One of the biggest luxury brands in North America. We are a premium partner with them from last 25 years, right? Okay, and they are AWS shop essentially. It's just a fire, right? Completely on AWS stack, right? Okay, we're doing everything in the cloud, data, and everything, right? Integration, everything, app development, and they thought, okay, hey, let's start utilizing generative AI in different areas of their ecosystem of retail industry, right? Okay, so what are the use cases we are seeing, right? Okay, some of the common ones are like personalized customer experience, right? Personalization, right? Personalization is a very perfect example of generative AI, right? Okay, but this personalization can come in different ways, right, Kapil? So personalization can be like, for example, you have an e-com website, right? Your search has now been personalized for you. Your search is not just a keyword search, right? It's a semantic search,
Right.
personalized search. It's a kind of engagement, right? You are not asking just, hey, give me a pair of jeans or blue jeans, right? Or give me a material for paints, right? Okay, you're asking the questions. Hey, I'm traveling to New York in the month of December, and I have to do this. Can you suggest me some kind of garments, right? Okay, so it's now goes and looks into all the possible contexts, not just the catalog. It looks into the duration, the location, the activity which you want to
Climate.
do, right? Every possible thing, right? And then it goes and looks into your catalog and then sees, hey, in the inventory and what is available for you. With all of that information, it gives you a well crafted answers. And not just the answers, it goes further. It goes and tells you, hey, with all of these materials which you have in inventory in the catalog, I am generating an image for you or your style for you, which is relevant for your ask. This is an example I'm giving you personalization. It can happen, right? Okay. Second example of personalization is that your product descriptions and catalogs can be generated or personalized for your taste or your requirements. That's another level of personalization. Third personalization in that your customer service agents, right now, which we are doing, which is intelligent customer service agents, they are not now going to give you personalized responses, proactive responses, right? Okay, rather than just giving a standard cookie cutter responses, right? Okay, so they know exactly what you need, what's the problem, and they can proactively answer you with personalized solutions and mail out. So personalization is a good example of generative AI adoption. Customer service support is a very good example. I mean, everybody, every industry they're using it, right? Okay, how to make the intelligent contact centers and all of that. Business productivity is a good example, Kapil, and that's another, like in sales,
Correct.
finance. We are using all kinds of business productivity solutions, right? Okay, people are using generative AI for some core retail processes like the scenario planning, demand planning, demand forecasting, sales forecast, and all of that also, inventory planning, right? There also generative AI is being used to prepare or simulate different kinds of scenarios, right? Okay, that is also very powerful use cases actually of generative AI. I mean, I can go on content generation like marketing, campaigns, and all of that is being done through generative AI now.
I agree.
So
There's
endless.
a lot.
So again, as I touched it, to conclude that first question, hey, which domain or industry we're working? We're working in all the three domains primarily, right? Retail, BFSI, insurance, and the pharmaceutical HCL, life science, right? Okay. And we have tons of examples and tons of use cases. We are working with different customers and partners for now.
And just to add to this particular piece, because it's very interactive discussion, and every day generative AI is generating something new, right? The technology in itself is going at a different maturity level in terms of usage, in terms of how we implement it, in terms of security, in terms of governance, and lot more, right? Something where I'm also hearing from a lot of customers every day that how best we can do it, how quickly we can do it. That so I think 2025 would be a year largely for implementation at a lot of different enterprises. Right now, having said this, I mean, as we're talking about the retail piece of it, so retail industry is going through a massive change, and it's a very innovative industry because every day customer has a different demand, customer has a different view, customer has different digital channels by which it connects, right? And every digital channel is becoming a footprinting as part of this whole ecosystem of understanding the journeys and whatnot. So how AWS is enabling with the help of their tech stack and what is something they are working on to enhance that customer experience, to improve that operations on the retail side of it.
Okay, Kapil, I'll take that question, and I'm going in the same track that Rahul was going. There are there are different use cases. Rahul already mentioned them, but there are also really specific challenges that the retail industry is going on right now. So there's one metric that nobody no not everyone knows, and it is that 70% of the sales in retail in the US are still being done in physical stores. But what's important here is that of that of that 70% or across the 100%, 72% of the purchases are influenced by digital interactions. And what I mean here is every time someone buys something, makes a purchase, they have been influenced either by social network or internet browsing or just by any kind of digital interaction. So this is creating a new challenge for retailers to provide seamless experiences across physical and online channels. And this becomes even more difficult if the retailer has aging IT infrastructure. So at AWS, we have different services. We have specific services that will make it easier for retailers to provide personalized experience. And actually, one of these services is called Amazon Personalize. And just to give you one example, we have one retailer called Pomelo Fashion. They are an online global retailer that sells clothes and other accessories. And what they did is they implemented Amazon Personalize, and they were able to create a real-time recommendation engine in just 1 month. And in just 1 month, they were able to get a remarkable 400% return on investment. And this is just going through personalizing the experience of the customer in the retailer. We also have different services like to do predictions. We have SageMaker, we have analytic services that will allow retailers to be able to better use their inventory, to be ready and to know what they are going to sell before time, and getting all the items ready to be sold. So this is just one example. We also have launched uh, on the Amazon app. Everyone can go and test it and see it. We have launched Rufus, and Rufus is an AI shopping assistant that can help customers, can help you to research and compare products, answer questions, and also get recommendations. As Rahul was saying, you will be able to tell your story to the to the AI shopping assistant, to Rufus, asking on your own terms. I need a present for my wife. We're going through this travel or something, and he will give the recommendation based on what you need, on your own words, and using all that information to finally go to a database that will give the present or the item that you're looking for. So these are just two examples that we have.
Interesting. Super. And good, you yourself is using it, so that's great. So that is a good example. Now, Rahul, generative AI seems to be a game changer. Now we have understood this. It's LLM. There is a lot of technologies coming in. We see, Lewis sharing something, and then you shared quite a few personalized examples and stuff. But but now, as we work with quite a few of the customers who are 100% AWS shops, right? They use everything, their complete environment and everything is AWS. So, how do you think that how the adoption is shaping up when it is pure play, AWS environment? Like, is it easy, difficult? There are a lot of things which is coming from AWS, which is helping this journey to move fast. I mean, what's your view on it?
No, good question, right? Okay, now we're going to the meat, right? Implementation side, right? So, but there are two ways I can answer this question. Okay, let me try with from AWS side. Okay, right? So, building any of these use cases which we have talked, including this personalization, or any use case in generative AI, right? There's a I would say there's a now an evolving cloud AI stack which is being used to build any solution. And more or less, this stack is standard now, right? Across clouds, including AWS as well, right? So you have a infrastructure AI infrastructure stack, right? Then you have a model stack, which is a model catalogs, right? Different kinds of models, right? Then you have a data stack, right? Which is all your data fabric, right? Okay. Then you have an agent stack. I would add that. Okay. Now the agent has become so popular in that you have an agent stack, and then on top of that you have a layer of application which you're building essentially, right? Okay. And all of these has to have a trust layer, a trust stack, which is about security, compliance, responsible AI, and all of that. Okay. So this is a standard stack which you have to build for any large scale enterprise to develop a good enterprise grade use cases, right? So most of the big enterprises, they are not looking for one use case, right? They know they have to build like hundreds of use cases, right? This is the future, right? Okay. So they've tried to build this common stack, and I call it generative AI landing zone, right? Because we come from the cloud background, and then they build use cases on top of that. AWS is helping us in all of these layers. So they have given a whole full ecosystem across all these stacks to help you, right? I can start from the AI infrastructure layer. They have like a SAYS, the specialized chips, right? Trainium for training, Inferencia for fast inferencing with a very very competitive price. That's infrastructure stack, and of course you have a sales maker, you have a EKS, and all of that is there, right? Hyperboard for large scale distributed training, right? Oh, okay, good. I think you're opening good.
Yeah.
And of course, all the GPUs and everything. Then they have a model stack, which is they have developed a new service called AWS Bedrock, right? Okay, which gives you access to all kinds of models, right? All kinds of LLM models, right? Okay, not just a proprietary model, open source model, SLM models, industry model, all kinds of models, right? Okay. And then they have a data stack, right? Okay, so they have a whole ecosystem of the data, right? Okay, which they have, right? Okay, all kinds of data services from ingestion to consumption, all kinds of vector databases and all of that. Right? Then they have a agentic stack. Again, that's a part of the Bedrock ecosystem only, but they have given a whole gamut of things to build agents using all kinds of tools and technologies and all of that. And now they have come up with a multi-agent orchestrator also, right? It was recently launched that, okay, multi-agent orchestrator. They're doing that. So they are doing that stack also. They're already improving that, but that stack is there. And then, of course, for application, they already have so many services, right? I mean, I can name 10 services, 20 services, which are used to build out all of this, right? Okay. And in the guardrail or the trust layer, this is what Louis is showing here, right? Okay. So they have a various kind of content filtering. They have various kinds of policies and guardrails at an org level, industry level, at an application level, and infrastructure levels. All of that is already there, and they're improving with some of these GenAI specific features, right? Okay. So I would suggest that the reason people are choosing AWS Stack because they are helping us to build all kinds of use cases at the enterprise grade level with all the privacy, security, compliance, resilience, scalability, all factored into it. Okay. And we are using it extensively across multiple customer, not just retail also, right? Okay. Across multiple customer, multiple domains, we are using AWS Stack extensively for training, fine tuning, uh, deployment, agent building, RAG building, all kinds of use cases you can think of that. Okay. Right? So yeah, thanks to AWS actually, right, providing us all of this best of the class services. You're on mute, Kapil.
You're you're mute.
So this is great. I mean, Louis, after seeing this and what Rahul is saying, because this actually gives a very good kickstart to anyone, who really would like to leverage generative AI. Someone can learn it very well. Someone can do some sort of POCs as well by leveraging a lot of different services and stuff. I was holding a question about the services, Louis. I was thinking to ask you, but I think we have discussed about a
Yeah.
lot about the services side of it. But if I ask you a question, Louis, what do you think? Like, you have heard Rahul. I'm also part of the same team. We have been leveraging AWS. We are doing a lot of stuff on generative AI. We work with AWS because you are one of our partners as well. What do you think Visionet approach should be in leveraging AWS? Let's say for digital transformation or generative AI or leveraging AWS, generative AI for, let's say, for complete data engineering. So, how do you think Visionet should approach this piece, if at all? I mean, if you would like to suggest anything.
No, just like to of what I have seen and what Visionet should should approach or Visionet vision could be that you can start with the specific use cases or industries, and once you have one industry that you want to work on, start start defining the specific use case that is like the most important subject or point or challenge that the industry is going through, and then go backwards from your customer needs. And if you already, as Rahul was mentioning, if you already have the customer running on AWS, then you have gone through a great process because you will be able to start using the customer's data on their environment, having all the AWS security to then be able to customize and get to the detail that the end user will need. So, for example, if you're working with documents, if your customer already is processing documents through AWS and is using, for example, S3, you will be able to trigger from S3 different actions to start getting calls to Bedrock to enrich documents or to extract information using an LLM like Claude, and then do agentic work to integrate these workflows into your customers' existing solutions. And this will provide different automations, enhance customer employee productivity, sorry, and start saving time on the customer daily hours that they spend on specific activities. This is just something I can tell to Vision. You're on mute.
Now, Rahul, we discussed about the different stacks, like how the layer of the infrastructure is, the tool piece, the bedrock piece, the different LLMs, and the application layer, etc. Now we have everything, we have the control, we have the environment and stuff. How do you think leveraging all these services, not all of them, but what is required for a particular use case, how, or can you throw some example driving some tangible business outcomes? Or have you touched and felt any tangible business outcomes leveraging these services and this tech stack? I'm sure you will have
Yeah,
definitely
yeah,
quite.
yeah. Okay, for sure. Right. Okay. So, as you say, right? Okay. Tangible outcomes depends on who we are talking, right? Okay. What does tangible means, right? Okay. Is it a dollar value, or is it a time saving, as Louis was saying,
It can be both. It can be
or
productivity, cost saving, efficiency,
correct?
some
Yes.
automation, delivering it fast, time to market fast.
Correct. So let's move on over, right? Okay. So we have touched a lot about reimagine business side. Okay. I'll give you an example of tangible outcome using on the tech side, reimagine IT side, right? Okay. So uh, so I think Luis was say talking about, right? Okay, Amazon Q and all of that, right? Okay, on top, right? Okay, different versions or different variations of Amazon Q, right? Okay. um, Software engineering, right, or IT itself has a lot of use cases, a lot of areas which are getting influenced or augmented by generative AI. And Imagine Q happens to be one of the ways to build that. For example, we are ourselves using Amazon Q developer, just an FYI, Louis, right? Okay. And so we are using, and our customers are also using, we're recommending them, right? Okay. And we are working with them because we are partner with them in the application development, delivery, and all of that, right? Okay. So we are using extensively the Amazon Q developer or different Amazon Qs for improving the productivity or efficiency of our developers in different projects, right? Okay. So we are using, it's helping us to generate the code, it's helping us to write the unit tests, it's helping us to refactor the code, and in turn helping us to improve the modernization time frame, right? Okay. It is helping us in finding out some of the issues in security there, right? Okay. It's helping us in PR summary generation, PR fixes. So the whole entire software engineering lifecycle, which you see, is being augmented by generative AI, and in particular, Amazon Qs of the world, right? Okay. Amazon Q developer of the world. Okay. So that's one example which we are ourselves are using, and our customers are also using. It's a huge productivity gain for us. Okay. Okay. That's one example. And the second example of productivity gain is that we are working with a life science customer where the research scientist has to go through thousands and thousands of pages of documents, right? Okay, and they're knowledge workers, essentially, right? Okay, so it's a real life use case which they've implemented in last 1 year, right? Okay, for that customer, right? So we have built a knowledge base for them to help or assist the knowledge workers like research assistant, right? Okay, so utilizing all this technology and services which we talked about, right, of generative AI stack, we have built a knowledge base which has been being we have uploaded hundreds and hundreds and thousands of documents in that, right? Okay, and different kinds of documents for different personas with the right guardrails and everything, and it is helping them in their day-to-day life, right? Okay, in their productivity, right? So they don't have to sift through each and every page of the PDF. They are asking summarization, they're asking questions, answer, they're having conversation, and all of that, right? Okay, so that's another use case which we have seen that. The third quiz use case for another retail customer is that all the feedbacks they were getting, right, on their stores and all of this, right? Okay, so they are accumulating all of that feedback, and then they are extrapolating that feedback. What are the concerns, or what are the complaints, or what are insights from those feedback, right, to act upon that to improve the customer experience, right? Okay, that's another example which we have built using generative AI for that retail customer, right? Okay, and that's another improving the customer experience, right, based on the feedback which you have taken to understand what you need, right? Okay, so I can go on and on, okay, so but
I know.
so the only submission I would say is that you should not think about the value from the direct dollar advantage, right? You should think about productivity gain, customer experiences, and all of that. That's equally important, not just the direct dollar value assignment.
Correct. Correct. No,
Yes,
but
and
it's always good to acquire customers, right? To retain whatever we have, and to the existing one, it's always like most of the houses focuses on on having whatever they have, just retain it, keep it running, right? The new will keep coming in. So continuously give them those experiences, democratize that information, whatever they are looking for, and so on and so forth.
Yes, I would like to add one more use case, like going in the same track with Rahul. We're working, for example, with one financial institution today. They are a big financial institution. They have almost all of their IT and end customer services running on AWS, and they're always looking to improve their customer experience. So what we're doing with them is we have they have one event engine that captures all the events from customers, transactions, interactions, etc. And on their call center, they get thousands of calls. But what we're doing is we're getting all these interactions once where the customer calls. For example, I call the bank, and once my phone number gets into there, they'll get all my last interactions. They'll create the context that they are sending to an LLM on generative AI to predict what are the two or three reasons why the customer is calling. So it's completely different if you have to go through a process that they actually have voice enabled interactions, but it's completely different if you have to say I'm calling to do this to call and when the bank tells you I see you might be calling me for this reason for this transaction. If that's correct, just say yes, and then they're improving different things here. So talking about the time, their human agents are reducing the time on the phone, which by the end of the year this will be transferred or translated into thousands or millions of dollars saving in
Correct.
infrastructure, time, etc. So this is just one other example.
And there are quite a few which I also came across because it's getting interactive, and we have discussed quite a bit of it. Like there's a customer of ours. I mean, they respond to like hundreds of RFPs, hundreds of RFPs they respond throughout the year, right? And when they respond these hundreds and thousands of RFPs throughout the year, every time they need to work on the RFP, they need to put together the content, they have to prioritize a lot of different things, right? Now, with the help of generative AI, we have actually automated that whole process for them by leveraging whatever the RFPs they have responded so far, right? So it's like they became more efficient, more productive, and they're shipping those RFPs very fast. On the insurance side, the claim processing piece and other pieces, what we have done, quite a bit of it. Those are the use cases. And leveraging AWS services. At the end of the day, I'm just talking about few of the customers I've been. And then there is a customer. They continuously recruit lot of people, for their stores and stuff. The matching engine of the profiles, shortlisting the profiles, the initial discussions of those profiles, etc., is also taken care of, right? So there are plenty of those use cases which are coming in the industries, and people have started thinking around leveraging more and more of these generative AI pieces. Now, as we have discussed about how it started, we spoke about the applications, technologies, the different use cases. Now there's something called security and compliance piece as well. Now, when we talk about the security and compliance piece of it, how do you think, Lewis, like AWS addresses this extremely very, very well in the environment or in the tech stack or whatever the services and components coming out of AWS?
Yes, so for AWS, security is priority zero. So what this means is every time AWS starts building something, one new service, one new feature, the first thing that we look into is security of that service. So this will give the first layer of security related to data privacy, data encryption, for the customers to be sure that their data is not going to be missed or placed on somewhere where it shouldn't be. So this goes all through the application security. And AWS has a lot of experience in this. We have different services like identity and access management to authenticate users and to give specific policies, really detailed policies to these users. We have KMS to encrypt to create the data encryption keys and manage them. So customers are can be confident that their applications are secure. Now, related to generative AI, we have new different challenges, and this is what AWS is working on. And first thing is customers need to be sure that their applications, their generative AI applications, their data is not going to be used somewhere else. And this is our first policy for AWS. Customer data is customer data. We don't use customer data for any other specific goals besides getting or doing what the customer needs. And
Mm-hmm.
also, we have for a specific generative AI solutions, we customers need to be in compliance. And what this means is they have to make sure that the generative AI applications, or specifically the foundation models, are not biased and are not hallucinating. And this is
Correct.
where we're doing the guardrails in our different services. Rahul already mentioned some of these, but
Mm-hmm.
these are used to for customers to be sure and be confident that their solutions will not generate data that is not real or that will compromise the company, and also that is not biased on specific data that it was trained. So customers will be able to block specific subjects or topics that they don't want to see, for example, in chatbots, or specific words. So all these different points.
Mm-hmm. So this is from the AWS point of view, right? How it is intact as part of the console. But Rahul, when it comes on to the implementation side of it as well, right? There are quite a bit of the pieces that we also need to take care, right? When we're implementing this, meeting two different type of compliances. One is the business compliances, what we really need to meet, the data compliances we need to meet, and the environment compliances we need to meet. So how it becomes like, does it become challenging, or this is something as part of the process we dealt with it, we get into those details before we even get to the implementation.
Uh, yes, I mean, I get this question all the time, but okay, most of the time, right? Okay, so I think both of you covered well that okay, there, and that's a mental model I have, right? Okay, when I explain it to everybody, right? There you have three layers of security and compliance you have to factor into, right? One is the infrastructure layer, which Louis covered, right? Okay, AWS is very good. All of us are very good. We are doing it all the time, and we are implementing the same or extending the same rigor for new generative AIs or AI related services also, like Bedrock and vector database and all of that, right? Okay, so that part is covered, right? Okay, we know that very well, right? The second layer is your application data layer, right? Compliances of that application data layer, right? So data governance, we knew it. Okay, we were doing it earlier. Of course, some of the dynamics changes because of the generative AI, but we know that and we are doing it, right? Okay, data classifications, data entitlement, and data tagging, all of that we do that. Then the application we are talking is a little different. In generative AI application, we are talking, right? Okay, what are the guardrails for a RAG application? What are the guardrails for agentic application, right? So those the guardrails are a little different than the traditional security guardrails or of erstwhile application, right? Okay, not the Gen AI based application, right? So if you notice, there's the the OS top 10 of application is different than the OS top 10 of LLM, right? It's a little different, right? You have to think about that, right? Okay. So, and in that, again, there's a plethora of things you can do, right? Content filtering, scoring all your accuracy, bias, and hallucinations, and all of that we do, right? Okay. Validations and all of that we do, monitoring and all of that. And the last piece is about your business or rather say organization and industry compliances, right? Which is the most
Correct.
critical one. Right? Okay. So there are a lot of new laws are coming, new regulations are coming, specific to that geography, right? Okay. So then how do we cater to that, right? And that's where we are. And this is something we are doing it as part of our GRC already. We do the GRC for a lot of applications, right? Okay. governance, risk, and compliance, right? So I'm trying to adopt the same framework for GenAI application also, right? So imagine you have all these policies, standards, best practices, and all of that you have to, or regulations, right? You convert all of that into your actual policies framework, right? And that's what we used to do in a CSPM world. Now we are doing called something called AISPM, AI Security Posture Management, right? Okay, we
Correct.
convert all those laws, regulation into policies, and then you have your AI registry. So any application which you're developing in an enterprise application has to be registered in the AI registry, and based on that application type, your policies will be applied. So let's say it's a customer facing GenAI application you have built, right? So your accuracy or hallucination score should not be more than 5%. Just an example I'm giving, right? So then applies that policy to that. And when you're developing your models or application, all of these parameters which you're monitoring or measuring at the application layer feeds into that policies to monitor it all the time. Hey, if you're not meeting it, I'm not going to allow you in the production, or I'm going to take action on top of that, right? So these are the
Mm.
three layers that it has to all work in tandem to achieve the security and compliance requirements of new age generative AI application. That's a brief.
We just have 10 minutes, and I need few minutes to wrap up and allow encourage whoever will view this webinar to ask questions if there is anything. But in to both of you, I have a common question, right? Louis, how do you see when businesses reaching out to you that we are facing challenges in scaling up a generative AI projects, or have they reached out to you? Let me frame it in the right way. Like, is scaling a challenge? Have you seen it? Uh, uh, in or the strategy they need to put together first in terms of technology, how they would like to scale, etc., to get to that scale. Have you seen any scaling challenges, and how do you overcome it with the customers?
Yes,
I've
well,
been reading about it a little bit, not AWS, but overall, that yes, it is. There are certain challenges. So I just thought to
yes, yes. There are challenges, and there are different type of challenges. So the first point would be when customers are starting a generative AI application, or when they start testing. The first point would be, or my recommendation would be, to start testing that generative AI really solves their problem, and start small, and then start growing. And what I
Mhm.
mean here is, if you want to, again, process documents, first make sure that generative AI will extract and give context and connect the information from your documents, or will do the process that you need. And once you're sure that generative AI solves this specific problem, then you can go to the other technical problems, or maybe end user problems, which would be your challenges, which would be going through the technical side. How many documents am I going to process? How many processes am I going to run? AWS has a scaling infrastructure, so you can go through regular AWS architecture to make sure that you're using a scaling infrastructure, serverless, etc., to be able to scale your solution. But then get into the details of Gen AI again, to go through for example, the context window. How many tokens will my LLM process? Do I have to create different queues, different services to be able to go through this process? And then go also through the integration challenges, which I know, for example, Visionet has deep expertise on these type of services and projects. And finally, go, once you have infrastructure, and that you have made your use case, go to the user challenges. Start explaining the users how this works, how will it improve their day-to-day works, for them to start adopting the solution. This is just like any other new technology. There's a learning curve, and we can help customers to go faster on this curve, but we still have to go through an adoption process with the end users.
Fantastic. And Raul, what's your view on the scaling side? Because that is largely AWS is on the technology side, their platform, their services, their environment. But when it comes to Visionet side of it, how do you foresee that piece on the scaling side of it? Like, what's customers' interaction? What's customer viewpoint? How the scaling strategy as a whole works, and at
Yeah,
what
sure.
level?
Sure. Again, yeah. I mean, let me answer it in my way, right? The way I see that. Okay, and it's a common pattern which I'm saying, right? Okay. So my answer to the scaling or the word scaling is important, right? What exactly we're talking about is scaling. I'm assuming the word scaling in my context, or I'm trying to answer is that, hey, I want to build from one POC to 10 applications in the production, let's say, in a year, let's say that 10 use cases, right? The scale in the number of use cases which you want to productionize, let's say, right? That's a goal effectively, right? Okay, how many solutions or how many use cases we are building and we are consuming, we're not just building it, right? Okay. POC is very easy, just an FYI, right? That's the
Correct.
best generative AI.
Yeah,
You can build POC in a week's time, right? Okay, or probably in days actually, right? Okay, but productionization is very hard, right? Okay, the the way I look at it is that most of the enterprises are in three phases of the Gen AI adoption journey, right? The one is the readiness part. A lot of customers still is in the phase of readiness. When I say readiness, means they are trying to figure out the right use case, as Louis said, right? Which is the right use case for them? What is the ROI for that? What is the investment needed for that, and all of that? Do I have the skill? Do I need a partner? All of that. Okay. Then second, in the readiness itself, you they want to do some prototype to just to feel that, right? Okay, hey, can I do something? Is it useful for my ecosystem, my environment, or not? And the third, once they do all of these, then they in the readiness phase they say, okay, yeah, I want to do, let's build the foundation common layer, right, which is a common primitives, right, which is required for all use cases to be consumed, right? And that could be a data ingestion pipeline, that could be your vetted models, that could be your agentic framework which I want to consume or adopt, right? Okay, that could be your security guardrails or security compliance measures which I need to put, right, and policies about that, right? So all the common primitives they want to build that. So that's, I would say, all of these are part of readiness, and the different customers are in different phases, stages of that. The second is the build phase, which is about I want to build now. So that's where you put all of this data, as you were saying, hey, put all the data at the right places, right, which can consume for that data readiness. Then the second is about we have a lot of jump start solutions, right? Okay, as part of we have built something called Generative AI, Gen AI Studio, Visionet Gen AI Studio. Essentially, it's a marketplace for a lot of applications which we are building for different in-house and different customers, all of that. Right? We have 50 plus use cases we have built, solutions we have built, right? So we try to explain them, hey, there's some jump start which you can use and do use that, and if it fits for your purpose, you can take it and build on top of that. So that's the second way we are helping in the build phase. The
correct.
third is about building the custom solutions, right? Okay. So we help in building different kinds of custom solutions and all of that. So that's a build phase essentially, right? Okay. And then in last build phase also that, hey, how do we take in product POC to production? So we have built a workbench called GenAI Workbench. Essentially, it takes you, it's like a SDLC or software development life cycle, right? You build something, then you try with different models and everything, score it, metrics it, okay, right? All the scores you do it. Then you go to the power users to bid everything. They give you the qualitative and quantitative feedback. Adopt it if everything goes aligns to your policies, standards. Go to the next level of what I call is a stress testing, right? So all of that we do, and then we do the production, right? Okay, so there's a POC to production that workbench we have to do. So all of this is a build phase, and then the third is about the launch phase, which is about LLM ops, FinOps, and then support, observability, caching,
Correct.
all of that you have to do that. Okay, so I see this. This is the typical pattern being used for enterprises who are serious about building, hundreds of applications, hundreds of use cases, exploring and building the use cases across the entire landscape of that. So yeah, that's our approach. Again, all of us are doing in more or less similar way, but
Similar way,
using
yeah.
yeah.
Fantastic. Now we are end of the hour. But great discussion, guys. I mean, I think we have touched upon onto quite a bit of it. I mean, we we started understanding how the generative AI is evolving, what are the different tech stacks, what are the different services in AWS we use, and how AWS is coming forward, supporting this whole ecosystem, right? Working with different businesses. We've heard about great examples of use cases as a whole. We have also touched upon the security pieces of it, the scaling pieces of it, and how technology organization is thinking, and how a partner like Visionet actually leverages and do it, right? Because we both are in a different but we are in a very good collaborative way is what we work on. So I really want to thank both of you for spending the time and helping the audience and understand some of the aspects of it. We will continue to nurture this knowledge, continue to nurture this knowledge sharing more and more, as we move forward. But just shout loud to everyone whoever is listening to this webinar, guys. Any point in time you really wanted to take the benefit out of it, you think that yes, this is a good benefit to your businesses, you would like to discuss it, you would like to explore it, you would like to get some suggestions or something, feel free, please reach out to us, and definitely let's create the future together. So thank you so much to Lewis, thank you Rahul, and thanks to everyone whoever is listening to this. So have a wonderful day, guys. Thanks a lot.